Hi, my name is Jason, and I've been an IT professional for the last 25 years. My clients love how I'm able to tune and optimize their system to make it faster, and also I am able to make it look and feel similar to the Windows 7 computer they may be used to for many, many years ago. What I do to make that happen, I'll share with you in this video. This is a freshly loaded Windows 10 PC, and I'm going to go through the tuning and optimization process that I use repetitively on all of my clients' computers. So first is to clear up the taskbar. There's some unnecessary items that people from Windows 7 just don't miss or even want down there that take up room. So starting here is the Cortana search box. You can right click it and then go to search and then choose hidden. That makes that disappear. And then there are a few other icons like right here, the talk to Cortana. You can right click and check on show Cortana button to uncheck it. And the task view button, the same thing. Just right click on the task view button and deselect it there. And then also the Windows Store, that will seem strange and foreign to many people, so I usually get rid of that as well. It's not often used by business people that don't really buy apps from the Microsoft Store, so we'll unpin that. And then I push the Windows Explorer icon over, and then it's optional if you want to keep the mail icon. Anyone who uses Microsoft Outlook will not need this, but I usually leave that there if I don't know. And then on the far right side, they have the people button. I have yet to meet anybody who's used that, so I usually disable that as well. So now we have a nice clean taskbar, and my next step is and many people like to see this PC icon. So the way to get that is you right click on a blank spot on your desktop and choose personalize, and then click on the left bar, click on themes, and on the right side you'll see where it says desktop icon settings, or if your screen is not big enough you have to scroll down and it'll be down here. So click on that and then just simply put a checkbox next to computer, and then when you click OK you'll see that you get a this PC icon on the left here on your desktop. So traditionally the way these are lined up is this PC followed by recycle bin, and then since Microsoft Edge has an icon that's pinned to the taskbar, we'll go ahead and get rid of that icon there. So the next step I like to do is if you right click this PC, you get a special menu which has properties on the bottom, and that takes you to the system window. And then if you click on advanced system settings and then click on settings underneath performance, this is a special area that allows you to tune the fades and animations and different things that adjust the look and feel of what pops on the screen. So one trick I have is to uncheck this animate windows when maximizing, minimizing checkbox, and then also disable these three fades, and then also uncheck the slide open combo boxes. By doing that, things will just pop on the screen really fast without having to wait for it to fade in real slow and fade out. It's not really making the computer faster, but it sure does make it look and feel faster when you're using it. So that being said, in the same area, if you go into advanced system settings, you also have an option if you choose to change the computer name and the workgroup name. That's on the computer name tab. I'm not going to do that in this scenario, but you can just simply click the change button and make adjustments as required there. And after that, the biggest thing that people miss from the old Windows is an easy to use start menu. If I click the normal Windows Start button, the normal window comes up with the new Start menu, which confuses a lot of people. So to get around that, there's a free program called classicshell.net, and I'll go ahead and download and install that here. Okay, and so here's the website. It's a free program. It does say that it's no longer in active development since 2017, but it still continues to work, and I still have good luck with it. So I'll click download now, I'll click English, and then here we go at the bottom, run. And Classic Shell is pretty simple. You can do next, agree to the license agreement. You don't have to do this, but I like to disable this Classic Explorer and Classic IE. That way I'm just left with the replacement start menu and the update program for it. And once that's done, I uncheck the README box, click finish, and then next time you click the start button, this comes up here asking you to tune and customize it. Don't change a thing, just click OK, and it's now fully installed. So if I click out of here and then click on the start button, you now get what looks like the old Windows 7 style start menu that has this column on the right with documents, pictures, user files, this PC, control panel, printers, all the things that people look for that they just don't know how to find if they're in the new menu. So also you can still get the new menu if you click on the start button by going up here in the very top left and clicking on start menu windows. That'll pull up the old or the new style menu before it's been changed. So next there's software is important. So a lot of people do enjoy and use Google Chrome. I much prefer it over the Edge browser that is new with Microsoft. So you can simply do a Google search and just do Chrome download or anything similar and click here. And it should download and install pretty fast. I do like to uncheck this help make Google Chrome better because that does load some software that can slow your computer down. I don't know why they make it so demanding, but if you uncheck the box, you don't have that problem. So I clicked on download Chrome, run, and now it's just a matter of running the install program to get that to install itself. We can go ahead and close Edge at this point. And while that's installing, I am going to also get Adobe Acrobat Reader by going to adobe.com. Scroll all the way to the bottom of the screen and you'll see this Adobe Acrobat Reader DC or whatever the latest version is when you see this video. And of course we don't want any extra junk on there, extensions, antivirus programs, so uncheck all the little optional boxes that you see and then click Download Acrobat Reader, and that begins the download process. And while we wait for that, I'll go back to Chrome. It looks like Chrome has already installed itself, which is great. So let's pin that to the taskbar. That can be done by right-clicking the icon on the taskbar and just choose Pin to Taskbar. And I like to slide that over to the side there. So now we've got a nice Chrome that we can use at any time. And here's the install process for Acrobat Reader. And that takes a little while to download and install. But once it does, you'll be able to open PDFs with a real PDF viewing program made by Adobe instead of using Microsoft Edge to view PDFs. You'll have better results with that. So while we are installing that, there are two programs that really do tweak, tune, and optimize the computer. Normally, I'm not a fan of using third-party programs like this, but I found that these programs made by iobit.com is actually they're actually really good. So I go to iobit's website and then point to products, and I've only ever used the Advanced System Care Free. So we go ahead and we start downloading that, and you can say open. You can click the icon to open after it's done downloading. And then they have another program. If you click on products, driver update, it's called Driver Booster Free. There might be a bunch of hardware device drivers that the computer's missing or needs, or even could have a newer version installed. So I click through and try to figure out which one of these to click to actually download this Driver Booster program. Sometimes if you see this, if it doesn't start, click here. I like to just click that sometimes just to make sure that it finally does start. And it did. So now that we've got those downloaded, we'll close our browser, and this is the Advanced System Care, so I'll do Custom. I don't want to install anything more than I have to, so I'm going to be very restrictive on what I allow to install. And this is okay when it says, it will not function properly. Well, yes, it will. Let me click yes, and then we click Install. No thanks on extra software. And I know I've got a lot going here. The computers are capable of doing many things at a time. Here's the Driver Booster installation. So I'll of course click Custom, uncheck the two boxes, click Install, no extra software. And now both of these are installing at the same time. And once I've used these two, I actually uninstall them. It's, how programs can be great, but then they'll bug you to death to upgrade and put the new version and try this and try that. Well, both of these actually optimize the computer, and once it's done, it's done. You don't really need to keep them unless you want to. So here is the Advanced System Care. So what I do here is it does a lot of really great things, but I also add vulnerability fix, and then I add security reinforce, and then hit scan. and then just let that go. And this is the remaining part of the installation for Driver Booster. So we'll say no thanks here. We don't want to learn more on the online, and you click scan. So this one will pop back up, and it's checking all of my hardware device drivers, just seeing if there's anything that I'm missing or could be updated or newer. And on this one, it actually says everything's good to go. So that's a good sign. Often it'll give a big list of different things you can install. And then there's a big red button on the top here that'll say update, and you just click it and allow it to install all the updates. Now, it is important that you understand that the driver updates usually work great, but sometimes they might not. And sometimes that can even cause your computer to have problems or lock up or not boot. Although rare, you just have to be aware that sometimes using these programs like Driver Booster can cause problems. So I can't be held responsible if it has a problem on your particular computer. I do find that about 95% of all computers I use it on work great, and it saves a lot of time and it gets everything up to date without trouble. So that being said, we'll go ahead and close this here. Back to Advanced System Care. It has a list of everything it found that could be better, optimized, tuned, eliminated, or a problem. So what I recommend is go through startup items, and anything that has a check mark, it's going to remove. So of course you don't want things to automatically get pulled out, like your scanner driver or any important programs that you use. Only the ones they deem most appropriate are checked, but you still want to look at what's checked and just see if you really do want to remove it or not. In this case, this is a clean installation, and there's not really much to look at here. I usually don't even look at privacy, junk, shortcuts, registry, spyware. Those take care of themselves. Internet improvement is an awesome area where they have tuned the TCP/IP protocol and all of its settings to be the best it can be to make the networking on your computer run at the maximum speed. So I love that. I don't really look at these or change them either. The next place that I do make one small change is under System Optimizations. The one here that says Speed Up Menu Display, normally it's 400 millisecond delay, and they tell it to go to 0. Well, I don't like 0. It makes it too hard to use, so I uncheck that. And then System Weaknesses. If there's anything that you need here that's checked, feel free to uncheck it, but normally the defaults are fine. And then security holes are just updates that you really should have that it currently doesn't have. And when you're satisfied, you click Fix, and then just let it run over here, and that'll take care of itself. Now, like I said, I do like to uninstall these programs when I'm done, because I'm really just going to use them one time initially. So while that runs, we'll go ahead and go to Control Panel, which is easy to find thanks to our classic Shell Start menu. And then under Programs, we'll just locate Driver Booster, because we're all done with that. And then we'll uninstall that there, check all the boxes. And it should be gone shortly. And we have our Advanced System Care still finishing up here. At this point, security holes, it's actually downloading from Microsoft Server or wherever it gets them from, the real Windows updates that are pending, and it does install them there. So while I wait for that, one more thing. There's under printers, devices and printers, there's a fax printer. Nobody even has a fax modem card in their computer anymore, so it's beyond me why Microsoft is still pushing this out as a default. So I like to right click and do remove device on that one. And next, if you see anything else unnecessary, you can remove it as well. By default, Microsoft puts their XPS document writer, which is essentially what Acrobat is. It's just that nobody uses it. The world never caught on, but they keep putting it out there. They do give a little PDF print driver for free, which is nice. It's not perfect. It doesn't work great 100% of the time, but in a pinch you can create PDFs with this built-in print driver. So here's Advanced System Care. It says all finished. That's great. This little bar here is also part of Advanced System Care. But since it's done, I'm done with it, and we can uninstall the program. So I'll go back to Control Panel, Programs and Features, right-click Advanced System Care, and just choose Uninstall and click Yes. And then that takes that out. Uninstall anyway. And after a brief pause, that'll be all gone. All gone. And okay, so next, the default programs you'll want to set. Adobe, when you first open it, it's done installing, and then we'll launch it. The first time it opens, it gives you a web page, which we'll close because we don't want to see that. And then it'll ask about the default application. Now, of course, anybody that is used to PDFs knows that Adobe software is the best to view the PDF files with, and the reader is free, which is what this is. So I'm going to click yes to make it default, and then there's a few little steps it wants you to go through. All you have to do essentially is just click the change button, click on Adobe, and click OK. So now Adobe will open whenever you click on a PDF. All of your desktop icons, if you have any, will also now reflect the Adobe logo, which is great. So the next step I would do would be change the notification settings. So with the start menu, instead of going back to the new Windows menu, you can just click on PC settings. That's shared with the new Windows 10 settings menu. And you can type in the word notification and click on notifications and action settings. And if it's a fresh new computer, there won't be many selections that you can click on here, but I do recommend minimizing this to minimize the annoyance of how many notifications pop up here on this bar on the right side. For example, if Outlook is popping up in this gray bar every time you get an email and you don't want it to, you just find Outlook in the list and then just turn it off. In this case, Microsoft Edge is in there, and I don't want to hear anything from Edge, but I do like autoplay, because if you put a flash drive or a CD in, it'll come up and help you access the files on there. So along with that is you can tune the power settings. Just click in the search box power and then click on power and sleep. And then I personally don't like my computers to sleep or go into hibernation, especially if they're desktop computers. So I'll change the sleep setting to never, and then monitor. This is up to you, but maybe a half hour. The monitor will go into low power mode. So that is simple enough there. Okay, and some house cleaning here. I've got Google Chrome is pinned. I believe it automatically pins to the taskbar, so we don't need an icon for that. And then Adobe, it's up to you whether you keep this icon or not. The program will still remain on the computer. And now, to get things a little cleaner than they are, we'll type in the word optimize. Especially if you have an SSD, you can go to defrag and optimize drives. And if it's an SSD, it's very quick. It just trims it when you hit optimize. Now, this is a virtual machine, so it didn't allow me to do that. But normally, if it's an SSD, it'll just do it in a matter of 10 seconds and be done. So at this point, you can see on the C drive a few folders and things. There might be a windows.old, which means that your machine has done either a giant Windows update or gone from Windows 7 or 8 to Windows 10, or from one version of Windows to the next. There's a good way to get rid of that. You can click start and then type disk, and up here you want to click on disk cleanup. This program has two different areas to it. One is the first when it comes up. I like to check everything. For my customers, I don't check recycle bin and I don't check downloads, because Lord knows what they might have that they'll want to use or recover or need for later. So besides those two, everything else is checked. And then I click OK and delete files. So that's actually purging out all those temporary internet files, little things, scraps, pieces, logs, and whatnot. And it just disappears. And when it does that, you know it's done. So I go and I run the program again for the second part. So you click start, type disk, and click on disk cleanup. And instead of clicking OK or tuning this, you just click on clean up system files. And then that causes a similar window to come up. And sometimes in here, you can have quite a large amount of data. Like under previous Windows installations, I've seen that 30, 40, 50 gigabytes or more, and it's stuff that's just, if you're happy with your current version of Windows, you don't need all the old stuff. So what I do is I check every box in here except, again, the recycle bin and downloads, because if it's not my computer, I don't want to be the one to decide whether or not to purge those. But everything else is not necessary. And again, it can sometimes come up to 50, 60 gigabytes saved. So when you click OK, you click on delete files. This one can take a while. You can pretty much just set it aside and forget about it and just let it do its thing. So going back to the file system, when I pull up this PC, go to C drive, There's two folders that you don't need that you can freely delete if it lets you. One is the performance logs, the perf logs folder, so you can delete that. You might see a folder on there called Intel, and that's just the Intel manufacturers, softwares, log files, and little programs and leftovers. You don't really need that. So if you see one called Intel, you can right click and delete it. You may get a prompt saying that your security doesn't allow you to delete this file without changing a bunch of options, in which case I would just say leave it alone. If you feel like going through the hassle one day, you can edit the security and change everything. And then yours probably will not have this ESD. This is just the way I installed Windows on my virtual machine that we're looking at here. So it looks like our disk cleanup just finished, and the last thing that I really do is go to PC settings and update and security, and then just allow every single thing in here to download and install. And once all those updates install, it may or may not prompt you to reboot, but you'd want to go ahead and reboot, and then when Windows comes back up, go back into updates and run it again. See here, a big update here came, so you have to click download and install. And eventually it will. And you just keep checking it and checking it and checking it until it says you have all the Windows updates or your system is up to date. And at that point, you have essentially gotten rid of a bunch of temporary files, gotten rid of junk icons. You've put icons on the desktop that make the computer look and feel similar to Windows 7. And then you've replaced your start menu with a menu system that looks and feels like Windows 7, and it's easy to find things that you're commonly looking for, unlike the new Windows menu. I personally haven't spent much time in this menu. I like the other one so much that I don't really pay it much attention. So you should find that your computer is very fast, responsive, everything works great, it's fast, it's familiar, and you'll enjoy using it again. So if you guys like what I've been able to show you here, feel free to leave a comment or subscribe. I plan on making more videos in the future, and it's been my pleasure showing you my tips and tricks. All right, thank you very much. Have a great day.